that part, that critical part, is basically saying, yeah, if I'm not here pounding on you, you'll never get anything done, which I know is not true. Well, I don't know if I know if that's not true, right? I don't know if because I've not really known any other way. Yeah, it's just interesting now. I'm sort of becoming more and more aware of that inner critic that, is the yes, but, yes, but.
The critical voice is there, and it doesn't matter. And the more we try to push it away, the stronger it comes. Hi everyone, I'm here with Colleen today, and I'm very excited. We worked together already a little bit, and I'm super excited that she's bringing today for this coaching session. And I hope everyone who is watching can get also a lot out of it. But now, Colleen, this time is all yours. So thank you for being here. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
Amazing. So we had a quite deep and intense session recently where we were working on procrastination. And of course, now I'm curious, how was your last week or the last 2 weeks? How did it go?
Well, so I think I've had an insight, which is not 100% new, but I know it at a different level now. And it was most evident. I mean, I think this plays out in other parts of my life, but it was most evident in the last couple of weeks with my singing. So I think I told you that I sing, I'm a novice, but I've found a way to sort of sing in rock and roll, not necessarily with a specific band, but with musicians, right? And so, excuse me, just 1 second. I don't like looking at myself, so I'm going to put a Post-it over my face because I get distracted watching myself. So anyway, so I had joined this school and I was practicing with this group of people since January. And I wanted to quit about halfway through. I wasn't enjoying it. It just seemed really kind of heavy and serious. And, I do this for joy. And so I wasn't enjoying it. And it just wasn't living up to the expectations that I had. And I wanted to quit, but I thought, well, I can't leave these people, I can't let them, leave them hanging. So I stayed on, still didn't necessarily enjoy it. But then I actually went on vacation for a month. And so I missed a number of practices, which everybody knew ahead of time was going to happen. Anyway, we did the performance recently, but after our session, what I came to understand is I was not putting in the practice that I needed to, equal to the other people in the band. So I was showing up at the practices really without having practiced for the week. So I wasn't doing any of my own practice on the side, which of course you need to, right? Now, I was really busy. I had a whole lot going on. It was really long days. But I realized that this is a pattern. I've done this before in these settings, like this same kind of thing, that I'll show up and I'm not quite as prepared as I need to be. And, this is not new. This is not just, I know this doesn't just apply to me, and I've known this before, but I know it at a different level. It gives me the excuse for not being good, for not being really good, right? That if I practiced, and was prepared and I'm not good. Well, that's a different level of not being good, right? That's bad. But if I've not practiced and I'm not good, I have an excuse. Does that make sense?
Let me see if I got this right. It does make sense, but let's see if it landed exactly like you meant it. So what I understand is that with not giving it all, not practicing, not being prepared, there is, you can say, yeah, this is because I haven't practiced. But
Right.
if you would have practiced and then you would, and there was this fear of not being good, then what? That would mean that you would, there was such a big fear of being not good despite of practicing that you rather didn't practice.
Right.
Oh my God, that makes so much sense. That's amazing. So how did you then solve this insight? How
Well,
did you apply it?
I kind of doubled down on the preparation. I had a little time and I was like, okay, today you've got to practice for an hour, and tomorrow you're going to practice, I've been working on this since January. So but some of the lyrics I didn't have down 100%, which, I think some people that's just easier than others. And, but I realized as well that I get focused on trying to learn the lyrics, and focusing just on the lyrics prevents me from focusing on tone, hitting the right keys, timing, right? And those are all part of the performance, right? And singing well. And so anyway, so I just spent a lot of time practicing. And I was like, when I get to the show, I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to do my part. I'm going to have it all down. Right. And I felt pretty good going in. I was like, okay, I know the words. I know the timing, because I'd struggled with after like a guitar solo, I wasn't sure when I was supposed to come in, and they were having me count, and I don't have a musical background. And so counting, bars was not working for me. And so I'm like, well, what works for me? What works for me is to actually listen to the music and just hear when the solo is over. I can tell when it's over because they're, playing these notes. So I felt really good about all of that going in. And so the performance was last Saturday. And, but this was about 250 people on a really big stage with lights and, all of that. And a couple of the songs I messed up. Part one of them was like the sound system was really bad and I couldn't hear myself. And so I got distracted and I was like, I'm trying to get the attention of the sound guy, and, and I just kind of got lost in the lyrics. And then another one, just nerves or whatever. I knew the lyrics, but I didn't say them in the right place. But for the other songs, and the one song that I was really worried about, I was actually like, when I watched the video, I'm like, oh my gosh, I pulled that one off. That one was the hardest one. I freaked out about it the whole time. So, I'm disappointed that I messed up on a couple of songs, but I'll get better, right? It's practice. And there is something in there as well that I need to piece out about, because I pretty regularly mess up with lyrics, even when I know them. That's nerves. I get it. But at the same time, I've done this enough now that really maybe I don't know what's happening there. Anyway, so the question was, what have I done? Well, I just dedicated myself to the practice and saying, I need to be prepared, right? And maybe part of that was, and they were challenging me probably in a way during the 12 weeks leading up, challenging me to learn at a different level. And I think I didn't really like that. I think I was like, oh, I don't really want to do that. So, so that's kind of the most obvious thing that I think came out of our session. I am, I feel a little bit, uh, a shift, and it's pretty subtle right now, but with things that I need to get done. Um, I've, I've put things off, right? That's a pattern. So procrastinating. But right now, I feel like I'm going, no, you need to get this done tomorrow, right? And you need to find the time to do it. So it's just a subtle shift, right? It's not, I don't even quite know how to describe it, but I'm a little more intent on getting it done than putting it off, if that makes sense.
Yes, it totally makes sense. And thank you for sharing all that. So what I hear is like, I mean, you took a lot of action. It's just like before you wouldn't practice for the singing and you wouldn't do other things. And now you feel a subtle shift, a subtle progress. And this is, that there are so many ways and we are all so unique, so many ways how we change. And so often it's so gradually that we sometimes can hardly see the progress. But when we look back, then we're like, oh, wow, actually, yes, I did. And now when you look back, I mean, you got up there and you practiced and you did it. And not only what you liked, you did the things you avoided. And this hardest song, you performed like really great.
Yeah.
And when we just, with your permission, stay there for a moment, when you think about this song, which was so hard, and you really performed amazingly, even you could see, wow, actually, yeah, you did a great job. How does this make you feel?
So on one hand, I feel good because that song really, it's a hard song. So I'll put it in context for you. I don't know if you know AC/DC, the band.
Mm-hmm.
This is Back in Black, and the vocalist just screams the song. It's and I was like, I'm not doing that. Like, that's not me. I'm not going to scream it. And it's really high, even high for a woman. It's really high, and I was like, I can't do that. So we dropped it an octave, and I'm like, I just got to apply my own style to this because I can't replicate his. Like, that's not going to happen. So on one hand, I feel good about it. It's like it's a lot of, actually a fair amount of lyrics and odd timing. And I did it, and I did it well for me. I'm always comparing myself. So, I'm comparing myself to the other performers, and clearly there were some performers that were way more experienced than me. They're in bands. It was evident. I mean, I'm like, oh yeah, these people have been singing for a while. They know this. They've got it down. And I'm, so I sort of, sounds terrible even to say, I sort of rank myself, in comparison. And I'm like, well, I'm not as good as this person, although that person is much more experienced than I am. So I sort of take that with a grain of salt. But it's like, but that's what I want to be. That's the level that I want to be. So on one hand, I'm proud and happy with my performance. And on the other hand, I'm like, oh yeah, that's not where I want to be. Like, that's not at the level I want to be. So
I totally understand that. And I mean, that's what we all humans do naturally. We compare each other so much. And I think in today's world, even more, because I mean, we also see more from other people, and with social media and all this stuff, we just compare each other. And that's how it is. That's what we do. But we have to understand, like when I was observing you, when I hope you're okay with sharing this. When you were talking about, well, actually, on the one hand, I felt good because you improved and all that. And I can see on your face, like how good you feel. But then there comes the comparison. Then there is, so to say, the negative part of this, like
Right.
almost. And this happens to all of us. We're all the same. And when we understand that comparison actually takes the energy out of us and towards other people, so the energy goes away, the energy which we want to use to proceed to become better. When we are just aware of comparing, okay, actually, do I really want to do this to myself? Because what we do when we compare is we take the best part of the other person and compare it with our worst part.
Mm.
That's what we do, and that's very cruel towards ourselves. Now, knowing that we all do compare, we can actually use comparing. When we compare ourselves now, for example, you can compare yourself how you are now compared to a month ago. Like, for example, with this example of the singing and the practice, how much did you improve? And where did you improve? What did you do now better than you didn't do before? And in this direction, we can even use comparison for our improvement and for our growth.
Mm-hmm.
How does this sound to you?
Yeah, and I do that. You know, I can do that to some degree. I think that, so, you know, the reality is I want to be in a band,
Yes.
right? I want to be in a band. What do I need to do in order to be able to be in a band? So, you know, the little side note. So there was a woman there. She did not perform, but I recognized her because I've seen her picture with the band that I auditioned for, and they chose her, right, to be in the band, not me. So when I saw her and I like approached her and I said, "Hey, are you in this band?" And she said, "Yeah." And I go, I recognize you from the picture, and you know, I auditioned for them. And so we were talking about the band, and do you still play, you know, are you guys still playing on this day in this place? And yes. And I said, you know, I really liked that band. I liked the guys and I liked their music, and I was really disappointed, you know, that I didn't get chosen. And she goes, well, after just watching you, I'm a little surprised, which was quite a compliment for her to say, right? But and of course I also said, so if you ever need backup or fill in, let me know because I'll fill in for you. And she's not much more experienced than I am after talking to her. So I was like, okay, so what do I need to be doing to actually make the cut, right? What do I need to do to make the cut? And I'm not sure I 100% know right now. Not floating lyrics would be a start, but yeah, it's interesting. I don't really know.
Mm-hmm. But she also said that she is very surprised.
Yeah.
And how does this make you feel?
Well, that was a nice compliment. That was definitely a compliment.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't going to do next series of programming in the next series because I didn't really enjoy it, right? And so I was like, yeah, I don't think I want to do that again. The performance was really, really fun though. So that kind of changes everything, you know, to be able to perform on that kind of stage with that kind of audience is a big deal. And I may actually do it and be dedicated. Like now I'm like, okay, if you're going to do it again, you need to come in prepared, right? So that next time you are solid, totally solid, and that you're not scrambling at the last week trying to get everything together, that you've got that together long before the performance. And each week is perfecting the performance, not learning the lyrics, not learning the timing. It's perfecting your, my delivery, which is different than what I did last time.
What did you do last time?
Well, last time I told you I didn't practice.
Yeah, exactly.
There truly was. I mean, I was working like 14-hour days during that time. And so there was some part of it why I wasn't practicing, but I'm sure I could have found time to practice,
Yeah, but you see now the shift between you then and you now. So there's a huge improvement. There's like an improvement away from this procrastination and towards productivity, towards taking action.
That is true.
And that's your change where you can be really proud of yourself, like doing this work and being even willing to letting go and doing this work, which is painful always when we go deep, what we did. But you were willing to do this. And that's a huge thing to be proud of.
Yeah.
And that's where comparison is good and not draining, but uplifting. When we compare each other, what do we do better now than we did before? And then we see, well, actually, now I'm a little bit more towards progress, towards taking action. And before I was procrastinating all the time.
Yeah, it's just interesting now. I'm sort of becoming more and more aware of that inner critic that, is the yes, but, yes, but. And I know this for other people. It's never quite good enough because, I'm not perfect, lo and behold. So even it's interesting, I'm just paying attention to the critic talking, right? So even though I'm like, yeah, I am making progress and I have done that. And, even in my work and, some other things, I'm feeling like I am getting better. I've not arrived there yet. I am getting better, but it's look how far you still have to go. Right. You're getting better. You still, you're not there yet. Yeah.
So you recognize, and that's a very great step out. You recognize your inner critic, this critical voice that's always saying, but.
Yeah.
You improve, but.
Yeah.
And you can do better. And I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
we
but look how far you still have to go, right?
Yeah, exactly. But knowing that you're a therapist, you are a coach, and as you said, you see it with other people, and that's the thing, we see it way easier on other people than on ourselves. But now you got it. Now you catched it because you observed it. Actually, that's my inner critical voice. That's not me, it's my critical voice. And then there is a choice point. Do I buy into that or not? And that's a choice. The critical voice is there, and it doesn't matter. And the more we try to push it away, the stronger it comes. But if we just say, okay, well, hey, you can even give it a name. There it is again. Hello, I hear you, but I don't listen to you. It's just there. And what does this critical voice say?
Well, there is some truth to what the critical voices say, right? There is still so much that I need to do and that I am not on top of. All right, we'll put it that way.
I'm sorry to interrupt you here. Yes, that's also truth. But the same truth is, so the one truth is you need to go a little bit further and you have to do a lot of work still. But it's also true that you have done a lot of work already and that you have improved, right? It's equally true.
Right.
So which one do you want to focus on?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it is interesting to observe this in myself right now. As again, as you said, it's so easy to see with clients. And but now here I am. That critical part is basically saying, yeah, if I'm not here pounding on you, you'll never get anything done, which I know is not true. Well, I don't know if I know if that's not true, right? I don't know because I've not really known any other way. What I do know, though, is that critical part pounding on me is not helpful. I do know that at a very conscious level. I know that it is not helpful. It breaks me down and makes me tired and makes me put things off.
Okay. And that's very interesting here. Let's break this down, if that's okay. So it says, this critical voice says, I'm here so that you get the things done.
Yeah.
Meaning it wants to help you.
Yes.
That you get the things done.
Yes.
But now you say, actually, it's not helping. It's keeping me down and low and back. So there is a little misunderstanding, if I get this right. This voice actually wants to help you, but the strategy is not very effective.
Right.
And it's not only not effective, it's actually getting the opposite out because you.
Yeah. It's counterproductive. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So what would be more helpful than to hear?
Yeah. So what just popped into my head is, one of my love languages is words of affirmation, right? Which this critic does not provide. Right. So, yes, I think I need to have that critic shift. So I need to change, maybe it is cheerleader. That doesn't seem like quite the right role, but, yeah. And actually be encouraging and give words of affirmation and, help with clarity. Like, oh yeah, this is the next, rather than you need, the pounding of here's all the shit you've got to get done. More about helping with prioritizing and reinforcement and words of affirmation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So what would help would be affirmation, encouraging words, then helping with clarity, helping with prioritizing, reinforcements, like everything productive and helpful. So this language would help you. And what it's now doing is just like, yeah, but I mean, look, you have to do this and that, and come on. And you better get going. Or like in a negative way. It's just like, oh, you can do better. I mean, come on. Yeah, it was okay, but so we all have it. And it's nothing, like I said before, it's nothing that you have. It's nothing wrong. It's just like we all have it. We see it. You see it always on clients, but it's so hard for us to see it on ourselves. That's why every coach needs a coach, because it's so hard to see it on ourselves because we are in the pattern. We are the fish in the water. We cannot see the water, but it's helpful when someone comes from outside and sees it. And now you can see it and you found out what would better help. And with your permission, I would like to look if we can change this a little bit, because we found out this voice wants to help you, but doesn't do it with what it's doing. But if it wants to help you, then maybe we convince it to do actually what helps you, which we found out is positive language, affirmations, encouraging words, and all that.
Yeah.
So for that, how do we do this? I would like you to just relax. And if you like, we can just start by taking a deep inhalation. Make yourself comfortable. Yeah, perfect. Another deep inhale. And exhale. And you don't have to breathe in a particular way. Just let your breath be however it is. Just observe it. And observe also that with every breath, you just get more and more relaxed. By listening to my voice, you can relax and focus on your internal state. Now I want you to go inside and to look for this part, this critical voice, this critical part within you. And you find it. And there it is. It's there. It has a critical voice. And when you hear it, when you listen to this critical voice, is this voice loud or is it soft? Is it strict? Or how is it?
It's not particularly loud, but it is kind of harsh.
It's harsh. And whose voice is it?
Well, it pops into my head that it's my dad, although honestly, that doesn't necessarily make sense.
But maybe it is. Maybe there is some connection, you don't know, but okay. And when you focus on this part and this voice, do you see also a certain shape or a color? Or does it come with a feeling?
I don't know that I have a shape or a color. It's kind of funny. The lower part of my heart. Mm-hmm. And it's tense. It's just really tense.
So it's the lower part of your heart, and it's tense. Okay. Yeah. And now I want you, I know we found it out already, but I want you again to ask this part. What are you here for? Why are you here? What's your role?
Keep me on track.
Mm-hmm. And it has to keep you on track because
if it doesn't keep me on track, I just don't know what I would do.
Okay, so if it doesn't keep you on track, then you wouldn't know what to do.
I don't know what would happen. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You wouldn't know what would happen then. So it wants to keep you on track to help you, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And to keep you on track, to move you forward, to help you move forward, right? we already talked about it before. The way it does it right now, does it help you? Does it keep you on track? Does it help you to move forward? To feel good about it?
Well, it definitely doesn't make me feel good. And I feel like it just makes me tired.
Interesting. So it makes you tired. And when you're tired, how
I
much
don't
can
take
you
care.
do?
I don't take
Exactly.
no.
Exactly. What would you like? What would be more helpful? What would be more helpful instead of being a critical voice? Of using this way of keeping you on track? What would really keep you on track and help you and motivate you?
So it's kind of a, what's interesting is the voice that I'm using now in my head sort of says, okay, come on, honey, let's take a look at what you need to get done, and let's figure out a way to get it done. So this much more kind of, I don't know, supportive rather than punishing voice.
So interesting. So the voice already, which now popped up, is a supporting voice in a kind tone.
Yeah. Helpful. Come here. Let's figure this out. Let's take a look and see what you need to get done.
Wow. And how does this make you feel? How do you?
Yeah, it feels good.
What will you do then when you hear that one?
Yeah. So I've not been particularly consistent with the use of to-do lists, but they are helpful. It is helpful, right? And when I do, and I think going back, because I haven't been using it for a while, going back to the to-do list to create, the lists of things that need to get done. And then, just prioritizing and checking things off, right? And in the past, when I do put things on the to-do list, it does feel better. So this is not new, but there's also kind of a heaviness that came with it in the past, Oh my God, all this shit I need to get done, which I may have that again when I do this. I don't know. But kind of bringing a different attitude to it with like, okay, we're just figuring out what you need to do, as opposed to look at all this shit you need to get done, right?
Okay. Yeah. It has a totally different energy.
Yeah.
Amazing. So now with this loving, kind voice, you would be more productive. You would, instead of getting intimidated and it feels heavy doing a to-do list, you would know, well, you will figure it out.
Yeah.
It will be done in
Yeah.
this or that way.
Yeah.
And now you have by just observing that, already experienced how different it is, what a different energy it has, what a shift it makes within you.
Yeah.
And now let's ask the part if this part would take on the new role of being encouraging, of motivating you, of being productive, of helping you prioritize, to reinforce, which would really help you rather than making you feel heavy.
So here's just a little piece of probably pretty significant piece that I think I've come to understand. So when I said that the critical voice was my dad's, but that didn't really make sense. My dad was pretty harsh, but I don't necessarily remember him being particularly critical of me. But I think what's happened here is that my dad died when I was 10, and this voice took over the role of a strict father. So it stepped in the role of a strict father because I didn't have one. So there's a sadness with this as well. Because in some, wacky way, this is a connection to my father. But, clearly it's not a healthy, positive function in my life, for sure.
Yeah. And also when you say it was a connection to your father and you were at the beginning a little bit confused, why does it come up like your dad's voice?
Yeah.
Because you never have him in memory like that, strict. So how would he help you to stay on track?
He probably was. I mean, he was an angry kind of, unpredictable to some degree. Oh yeah, it is his voice. No, it is. It is. I just sort of forgotten. That is definitely his voice.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, this part sort of stepped into that role in his absence.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Totally makes sense and totally not what I want and what is helpful. So, okay. So now we're back to, I had to kind of go through that for a minute to understand it.
Perfect.
Yeah. So now that I see that it stepped in as this strict father role, and I sort of have this belief, in my mind. That in the spirit realm, my father is not that same man. And he wants what is good for me. And he is supportive of me from that spirit realm. So in asking this voice to shift, maybe to a supportive, loving, paternal role, much more aligned.
And that makes so much sense, because when your father, like you believe, is now not the same person what he was, but he is now a supportive energy or whatever, however you have it as a visual, that wants only good for you and support you. That makes so much sense that now, when this all came out and there is clarity now in this little misunderstanding, that makes so much sense why this voice now, this part takes on.
Yeah.
A kind voice, a supportive voice, an encouraging voice.
Yeah. It is. It's a very different experience.
Mm. And now let's check in. How does it feel in your heart now?
Yeah, it's not as tense. But in fact, I don't even know if it's there.
Mm. What do you feel instead?
Well, kind of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is good, right? When
Yeah,
your body's functioning well, you don't notice it.
exactly. But when there is no tension and when you don't feel the tension, it means that it's everything aligned, everything is soft.
Yeah.
And like you said, like it should be amazing. And when you think now about this voice, what comes up?
Kind of welcome it.
Mm.
It's comforting. It's comforting.
Comforting. So now it's a comforting voice
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that wants to still support you, but now can do it in a way more effective way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
It is amazing, actually. Wow.
And now you know that this voice, it just shifted. It was always there and it now shifted to a kind voice, a comforting voice.
Mm-hmm.
And this voice will be there for you forever,
Mm-hmm.
or how long you want it to be. Let's put it that way. And it will support you now in an effective way.
Mm-hmm.
It has this energy of supporting, this energy of your father, who is not who he was when he was here,
Mm-hmm.
but he is more this supporting force or energy who helps you to get everything what's good for you,
Yeah.
to support you, to encourage you, to comfort you, to be there for you. All this critic shifted to encouraging, comforting, loving, kind energy, right?
Yeah. Very much so.
Amazing, amazing. So now you did an amazing work. And exactly, you can open your eyes whenever you want to, because it will stay there. And you can always check in if you like with closing your eyes, but now with the eyes open, you tell me, can you feel it that it's there still?
Yeah. Yeah. I can.
And what shifted?
Well, the voice shifted. The energy shifted.
What energy do you feel now?
Well, there's a sense of connection. Optimism. Yeah, for sure.
Beautiful. And what do you want to do now with this optimism, this connection, knowing that you are supported?
Well, my plan before this session was to spend this next hour kind of getting some things done, but also kind of looking at the to-do list. But it just doesn't. It just has a different feel to it. It's like I'm like, oh, I get to go do things, as opposed to I have to do things, and things have to get done. and sort of, yeah. Now it's like, okay, you know, it's much lighter.
Lighter. I love that. So you would have been so disciplined that you would have done it anyways.
Yes.
Now it's not this heavy feeling of you have to and go
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
your things done, but it's more like, come on,
Yeah.
let's see
Just
how
get
we
it
can
done.
do this.
Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's get this stuff done.
You already said what I love so much. Like you said, it feels so much lighter.
Mm-hmm.
And what's amazing is that I can see it so much on your face.
Yeah, I'm
Like
sure
this
it's
shift.
true. Yeah, it's really funny. So my boyfriend and I, we're camping actually these couple of days, but this is our checkout camp. So we go check out the camper really close by. It's 15 minutes from home. So I came home to do this session. But I've been sort of like, why do I not want to be camping? Because I haven't been excited about this. Not that it's like the greatest campground or anything, but I'm like, why do I not want to be doing this? And I realized that part of it is that I have felt like there are so many things I need to get done. And I'm, off at the campground, not getting things done. And so I've been in this real conflict. And now it's kind of shifted to say, okay, there's some things I definitely want to get done today, in the next couple of hours. And then I can go and enjoy myself. I actually, it's okay to go and let these other things sit for now, right? It's okay. Just get done what you can get done now. And then the things that you can just let it be.
How does this feel?
Good, actually, really good.
Again, there is this lightness. There is not this heavy, you must, you have to.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
you can't be playing. You can't go, you can't go just hang out and have fun. That strict kind of punishment tone. And now it's like, get the things done you need to get done and then go have fun.
Beautiful. Amazing. What a transformation.
Yeah.
So.
Big hour.
Wow, yes. And thank you so much for being so open and willing to go this way. Again, it was deep, and I'm very grateful and honored that I can witness your change and transformation, which is your work, which you did just so brilliantly. I was just there and asking questions, but you came up with all this deep stuff and amazing work. So from all this session what we did, I know a lot of things, and you said it already, but what is it that's the biggest gift and takeaway for you?
I think this understanding that voice was filling in for my father, and that I felt some sort of connection to him through that voice. And now I understand that I can have that connection, but with a different tone and a different approach and a different voice. I mean, it's, lovely, actually. It's quite lovely.
It's so beautiful. It's what a gift. Thank you for sharing this, and yeah. It's just so beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I can't wait what you will tell me next time. So do what you want to do. Everything which feels good, but still I know now that even the to-do list feels good, and then have fun also in your free time.
Yes. Thank you.
And
thank you so much, Monica. Really powerful hour.